great ladies who just kind of both are authors or great enthusiasts of Ukrainian historic attire. So we are going to next present to you a collection of Ukrainian historic attire. And please, Pani Krystyna Nawrocka and Pani Luba Artemishina. Nations and tribes which crossed its territory and left some traces in our costumes, in our customs, in our traditions, in our history. Say for example, meet first Sarmatian woman. So in the 3rd century BC, 7th century AD, and this time we decided to show you not some noble woman, warrior or priest, but just woman. So this was one particular woman which was great in every respect, and she lived in the middle of the 9th century, and 10th century. Well, he was really very imposing man, I mean Prince Volodymyr. He was strong, good warrior, a great sinner in his youth, he a noble woman of the 12th century. So that was the time of relative prosperity that I told you, and you can notice the difference in costumes. The costumes were, this is a young girl of the 12th century as well. She's not of the 12th century, the costumes are the 12th century. So as you can see, that's still 12th century, but the very end of the 12th century, this integration period that I told you. And still you can see here, it was relatively rich costume, and many of these pictures in the western part of it was not dominated by Tatar Mongols, and even the 13th century, and that's exactly the time when this costume dates back to, they were very strong, and the principality remained very strong, exciting for women, because that was the time when men determined the history and the fate of Ukraine. That was the time of Cossacks, wife of such Cossack officer, noble wife of Cossack officers. Later, when Ukraine and Russia were reunited, this women Ukraine lost its independence. It was reincorporated by Peter the Great emperor of Russia, who not only robbed Ukraine of its independence, but also robbed us of our history. And that was some kind of self-ruling bodies. So you can see here that this costume uses the woman, but of less, who didn't enjoy the nobility status, but she was still very prosperous, and you can see here in the costume, it is more modest. It doesn't use that much of imported. So these were, that was, as I told you, 18th century, and that part of Ukraine was under Poland in that period. And you can see here the influence of some Polish weather. But in winter time, you can see they decorated their costumes with furs. And amber beads were especially particular. All Ukrainians enjoyed beads, and you could see in every costume beads. But amber beads were mainly imported. Though in the Western Ukraine, we tend to make photos of yours, you will be able to do so. Now, please, your applause for this. Welcome, our next. Можна ще раз для останнього фото. First row, do you want to take pictures? Second row, we'll like that. Can you go?
Stand right in the middle.
It's a very important talk about strengthening our ties between Ukraine and the United States. I never seen a lot of beautiful girls all together. Thank you for coming.